Teller Knight Toolbox creeps through the cracks for this month's Kong's Cards tournament. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. It's actually really nice that we're getting the chance to see some major differences out here in the format. But your breakdown for this Kong's Cards tournament, you're going to have double Rescue Ace as the leading top deck. If YCSND taught us anything, it's that you are going to just cruise control with Rescue Ace, and you are going to see this deck put the pedal to the metal as it is the insane deck of the format. Now, winning our event was actually Mana DM, kind of overcoming a lot of the obstacles and things in the meta, kind of proving to us that, hey, you know, Mana DM's presence is something that you do need to be worried about, and you do need to know that this is a deck that is going to be keeping up. We also had tier elements in our top 4 for this event, and of course it's Bra and Poke. They've mastered the art of this deck, and I really say it is kind of cool to continuously see a big name coming in here and keeping up with the power of the meta. Now, of course, we also had Unchained, which has been a pretty standard metagame contender for a little while now. I think we're going to continue to see Unchained kind of sit at the dinner table here and continue to be this deck that you do need to know about. And of course, we had some Rika Sun Avalon out of this event. I mean, Rika plants tend to be one of these decks that does stick around. We also had Dragon Link sitting at the dinner table for this. Ooh, Saranir, banish your target. What are you gonna do? And of course, I think the most shocking thing out of this tournament was we had Teller Knights actually stepping up to bat. Now, Teller actually getting the chance to do anything, I feel like, is a massive shock in the meta. You know, let's call it what it is at this point in time, but you don't really think of doing anything with Teller Knights anymore. And the fact that this deck is, you know, suddenly sitting here doing something, I don't know, maybe it's worth considering. Let's pass on over to deck list. Our event here was none other than the power of Mana DM. And shout out to Eulogy here, actually getting off the ground. You know, this is essentially Triff's list at this point in time, but I think it proves that, you know, once you have a list that's been defined and something that players are able to kind of reciprocate on and play, it's really good. Also, Droplet's a fantastic board breaker right now. Like, don't underestimate the power lines that you're going to be getting with a deck like this. Fenrir is a stupid good card. And of course, I mean, having the utility assets down here to side into and access to reframing, it's essentially like the best meta experience that I feel like you can kind of get out here. Once again, don't underestimate the power that you're getting with a deck like this. It just kind of proves that, you know, Mana DM can sit on the top of the format and it can actually do well. Even though it does have some inherent disadvantages in certain matchups, it's still really good. Shout out to Econ. Alright, what else we got back here? We have Rescue Ace sporting off the actual Sinful Spoils of Subversion in the main deck. Now, most people that were talking about this card have been kind of tossing it into side decks, and I kind of agree with that, honestly. This is not something that I really feel like I want to have present in the main deck, but okay, so we get to play this. It's another searchable method of blowing up something, aka crystallizing and dropping it into the spell and trap card zone, and you no longer have to deal with it, which means technically your opponent can't bring it back either. So that's a little bit of a win in itself. I do like the way that this deck feels. 41 cards is fine. Having access to this is good. The one instant fusion, the enemy controllers to kind of take control of the opponent's cards, and of course the Jet Synchron package. Okay, I like this. This feels very, very strong. What else we got going on back here? Oh, it's our tier elements build. Hi, I see that we have some Bysteals trucking around out here in the main. That way we can kind of go ahead and detour anything the opponent does. See that we're also sighting a Drosworm and a Baldrake as well, so we can kind of bring in that heavier pressure. We are still side decking the crime. And because the meta, it's kind of evolved into a really weird place out here. We're seeing that there can only be one actually is a card that can help this deck out. Now, there was talk from people wanting to play Skill Drain with this, which I think you can kind of go either way on. Skill Drain does seem like a card that would be an immense help to this strategy. You know, the ability just to put that pressure on the opponent so that they can't play the game. seems kind of worth it at the end of the day, but you've got a lot of room to have innovation in this deck. And with that innovation, I mean, you're going to have to make some decisions in terms of deck building, but this feels pretty perfected. Next up here, we have Unchained. You know, we're still doing the same combo lines that we've been doing. I mean, the DDD stuff has stuck around. Some of the biggest changes, I mean, we have Dimension Shifter down here in the side deck, so you can kind of just go ahead and suck up anything that the opponent feels like it's going to be a problem. This Mistaken Arrest has turned into a stupid good power card this format. Like, the fact that this card just basically can deny your opponent the chance to play the game, period, feels absurdly good. So trust me when I say this. I really do think that Mistaken Arrest is something that you should be looking at right now in terms of side deck cards. Like, the power that you get because of this card is so stupidly insane. Like, just denying for 2 turns is actually insane. Alright, so yeah, that's kind of your DDD experience at this point in time. You just go, and your opponent goes, no. Alright, we have Rika Sun Avalon back here, and yield one of evenly matched. You know, once again, we emphasize the power of this stupid good card here. This card makes it so that you can do all sorts of crazy things, and your opponent really can't do anything. I mean, you need an evenly matched. Okay, thank you. I can go ahead and pull this on out. Speaking of, unfun things, I mean, having immediate access to droplets to be able to out things that the opponent's going to be setting up. This deck is the master of one card combo because, Loki just starts everything for you. So you can burn off essentially your entire hand, and as long as you have something that can one card starter the deck, you are good to go. 46 cards, not much of a problem. I also love the fact that we have Catty Corn down here getting the chance to showcase what it does. And of course, the Spiritual Water Art Owlway. We already know how stupid good this card can actually be. So just a standard day in the office out here. Next up, we have Dragon Link. Now, if you're looking at this main deck, I'm going to be honest with you, there's not a lot of spice stuff going into this deck. Actually, this feels incredibly standard for the main deck. Double Knock Division's kind of nice to see. The branded package still sticking around. Double Nibiru is a little bit interesting, but if you were to pull up Old Reliable here and go, hey, these are the ratios that we've been used to, that's fine. I think that this does kind of prove to us that this deck has withstood a little bit more of the test of time out here, and showcasing that, hey, Dragon Link is still sitting here at the dinner table. It's just, we had to kind of dust off the SP Little Knight and get it to kind of shine a little bit more. There's not a lot more to say about this. You can adjust ratios however you feel that you need to, but I feel like at this point in time, the deck feels incredibly linear in terms of deck building. There's not a lot of things that you really have to change. Next up is our Satellar Knight Warrior Toolbox, of all things. And I haven't actually had the chance to kind of sit down and see how this works, but I mean, you're doing some Isolde plays. I see that we are playing the Durandal into the Renauld, so that you can kind of start sitting on up here. I see that we're also playing the beautiful, beautiful Heroic Champion Exceed. There are a lot of things that I feel like that we can do with this because they're also warriors, instead of, having this be the standard deck that aims to stop dark monsters from getting the chance to resolve. We're going to do some commentary on some of these games. I'm very curious to see kind of going forward here how much potential that this deck actually has, especially with the Warrior Toolbox, and how this deck was able to overcome a lot of the weaknesses that were pretty apparent for a lot of this metagame. And our last list we have here is another Rescue Ace list, but then once again you kind of see we're trimming down a lot of the fat that the meta's been doing. We're playing the 1D Bellstar. You do see a Scantos out here getting the chance to be a stupid good card. Yeah, you want to talk about just being able to ruin the opponent's day. Well, dear old Scantos here is going to be one of the best cards that you can have, making sure that the opponent can't actually do anything. I see that we're also side decking a copy of Reinforce. Yes, this card has been gaining a massive amount of play for side deck showing, and it's actually been kind of cool to see. So that is our breakdown for this Kong's Cards tournament, I find this very interesting just to see that Satellar Knight got the chance to shine out here. Maybe in a way that I don't think people really necessarily expected to see. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.